This is Kelly Renee and my good friend Michelle Santo, and we are going to just start talking about EFT and just see what comes up, to just share things that we've experienced in our personal lives a little bit, and then also with clients that we have seen. So the first thing I want to talk about is the things that I've noticed in my own life. So I've been doing EFT ongoing for almost 2 years now. And so I'm going to compare here my past self to where I'm at right now. So I'm not living in a perfect world, like none of us are. I'm not exactly where I want to be, but comparing from almost 2 years ago, my life has dramatically changed in ways I never thought were possible. And one thing that comes to mind is overcoming guilt. And I know I've talked about this many times before, but it was so ingrained in me, and the guilt for 2 decades because of something that I participated in and something that happened to me as a teenager. And I held on to the trauma from that. I didn't know what to do with the guilt from it. And so it stored in my body, basically haunted me, because I wasn't taught as a child what to do with emotions. Like many of us are not taught how to process our emotions. And so it built up and built up over the years, and I became depressed and anxious and started acting really strange in certain situations that would trigger me. But through EFT, it helped to clear that trauma in my body. And by the way, that trauma turned into pain in my stomach. And it seems weird, but yes, our bodies hold on to these traumatic events somehow, because if you don't process through them, that's what happens. So EFT helps to clear those types of things, traumatic events, feelings, emotions that have built up, and helps you to overcome it and think of it differently. And just like we've talked about before, Michelle, it changes the way you think, the neural pathways in your brain, to in a way, what I'm trying to say is in a way where you just don't think about it the same way. It does not have a hold on you anymore. And that's exactly what I've experienced, overcoming that guilt. And by the way, guilt is the most useless emotion we could ever feel. And I'm so glad to have overcome that, because it held me back in relationships with people, other things I won't get into because it's really personal. But I used to act really strange even when a certain song came on the radio. That's how it affected me. So that's just one thing that pops into my mind.
Aw, thanks for sharing that. I
Yeah,
heard bits and pieces of it, but it must feel so nice to be like emotionally free of it, where it
yeah.
doesn't affect you anymore. You must feel so like a new person.
I still can't believe that I don't have that anymore. I don't feel that anymore. It's gone. Um, yeah. And the way that it was cleared is really unique, because the lady that I have worked with doing EFT has her own way that she processes and helps you heal emotions that are trapped in your body. And it's just really cool, because you go in and visually heal it with your subconscious and your curiosity and the breath. And as you tap and you talk about it, and it's like magic. It melts it like butter. And the whole point is not to change it, right? We don't want to change it. We want to love and accept it as much as we can. And then that's when it changes. And that's exactly what happened. So,
That's so cool.
yeah.
I just had like a sudden thought of like the moment you take the pressure off of like whatever goal it is, and it could not even be a trauma related to EFT, but it just reminds me of like whenever you're trying to, whether it's like love in your life or some kind of career goal, I feel like when you try so hard to like figure it out with your mind, you're not really going to get as far as when you're actually like changing your physiology, like with tapping. There's like, it's just amazing.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's, I think, one of the what am I trying to say? That's the trick to all this. It's not a trick, but the trick is to not focus on changing it. Like you're saying, yeah, to take the pressure off, just kind of sit back. Okay, don't expect a whole lot, and then it changes and transforms and shifts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Oh, it's so cool. I think for me, like when I started tapping with you, it was all about numbers. I do a lot of writing with my work, and I've always had an aversion to numbers. And it must be because of family pattern that I saw not good with numbers. And I'm like, me too.
Right.
I'm not good with numbers either. I would see times and I would write the times wrong. I would believe like, oh, I'm just not going to be able to convert this time zone. And I would literally get like in a panic. Like, did I get this right? And I would check and double check and second guess myself. And it would take so long. Like it would just drive myself batty. And then as far as like finances go, I don't know why, and maybe it was a receiving problem, but I just wasn't. I know what it was. Had a belief that I'm not good at managing money. Again, all connected to numbers for me, or at least that's where the shifts have come. The most impressive shifts have all been around numbers, and I'm still working through it and getting better at it day by day. But now that I've tapped on the negative beliefs about time, that I'm always late, or the negative beliefs about money that I can't manage it, I'm starting to slowly create these new habits of starting my work a little earlier to just give myself the space to create something beautiful and not be in that tizzy of being rushed. And then the thing with the financial piece is even if I don't like not like a master financial advisor, at least I made the mindset shift that instead of I'm not good at managing money, which is baloney, it's not true. It's just a story. I've shifted my mindset to, hey, I can learn to manage money a little better. You're not going to go from, you know, New York to Kalamazoo in a day, but you'll get there, And I'm amazed that I'm seeing a lot more money.
That's wonderful. Yeah, this tapping really opens us up to so many things that we never really thought were possible. I mean, that's what I've experienced, and that's what you're talking about too. And so when you were talking about that, that belief was just something you were shown as a child.
Mhm.
And that's what happens a lot of the time. We're either shown or told by parents or whoever that we're growing up with different things, and we internalize it or take it on as our own beliefs. Yeah, and that's what happens. But it can be cleared. That's the good news. And that's exactly what's happened for you and is happening. And it's a process. I mean, we're not perfect, right? But it's comparing yourself to how you used to be. You've come so far.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like it's not like I don't want to look around and say, I don't want to speak this out loud because it's even
Mhm.
uncomfortable to share right now because I'm like, I don't want to jinx it. I have like this wacky thought, but then it's really just all about energy. And I think where I got stuck in my personal development journey, like if you saw my bookshelf, it's like all about health and wellness and mindset stuff. So I think I got stuck in like a collecting information stage and not really embodying it. And I think tapping really helps you embody those things because you're just wiping away whatever wacky thoughts or beliefs are in the way that you don't even know that you have. Like I literally
Yeah.
thought this is the way I'm going to be for the rest of my life. But I'm so happy to say it's not true.
Yeah, that's it's miraculous what this does. And I know what you're saying about you if you think you might jinx yourself if you speak it out loud. I have felt that. And so that's an old belief too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying though, because I've overcome severe back pain and I used to just kind of keep it to myself and not share it with anybody
Mhm.
because I didn't want it to come back. But I've shared it and it hasn't come back.
Oh, good.
So that belief is bullshit.
Hmm.
But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, yeah, you don't want to jinx it because, yeah, you don't want to share it with anybody because what if it comes back?
It's like this whole new normal. And even when you get your dream that you've been dreaming so long, it's a little scary.
Oh, yeah,
It's
it
like,
is.
oh, it's here.
Yeah, it's here. This is my new normal. Ah,
Yeah, I created that. It's so cool. But then again, my old reality, I created that too.
right, exactly. That's the funny thing about this. As human beings, we create what we're living right now. We created this reality we're in right now. But with EFT, you can change your next reality because reality has a lag time. So if you clear some things through EFT, this is what I've noticed. We go in and we clear a certain thing, and then a couple weeks go by, and you're like, huh, what just happened?
Hmm.
Something's different. I don't know what it is, but something's different.
Yeah, it's like it's magic. Well, I don't want to say it's magic because it's really science, but it feels magical.
Yes, it does. I remember, so working with my EFT practitioner, we did a lot of different sessions specifically for my back pain. And I was like, yeah, this isn't working. It's not going to go away. It's not going away. It still hurts. And then I was driving in my car down the road one day, and I just like all of a sudden felt this change occur in my back. It didn't hurt. And I looked around at other people, and I was just thinking to myself, huh, the world's not as scary as I used to think it was. It was a really weird experience, but really surreal and cool. That's what I'm talking about. This work, like it catches up with you eventually. And that's what I experienced. I would have felt safe in the world and my back didn't hurt anymore.
Wow,
Yeah. So it's
that's
really
so
cool.
cool. I think I was talking to a client at one point who does EFT, and we were working on one of her online courses. And I think I asked her, I was like, "So how long does it take to actually see changes?" And I think they said it takes the body about 4 to 6 weeks to actually catch up with what you did with the mind. And exactly like you were saying, it's true. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna tap once and I'm cured. I'm transformed. It
Yeah,
takes a lot more than that. You have to show up for yourself, consistently, and you'll notice a difference.
exactly. And you have to show up for yourself ongoing in between sessions. I mean, it's not all about doing EFT and you're healed, but you've got to show up for yourself in between that time because emotions will go up and emotions will go down. It's like a roller coaster. And yeah, you have to learn things. And that's what I teach my clients too, is how to show up for themselves in between times of seeing them through journaling or reframing their thoughts, or there's all kinds of ways, breathing it out, something to help self soothe yourself because yeah, you will get back in the lows, but you will also find the highs again. So that's the good
Mhm.
thing. Everything passes, nothing is constant, and it can be an up and down ride for a while.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Well, when you've seen your clients, do you notice like any themes or certain things that pop up that people need help with?
A lot of things I've noticed ongoing with people, a lot of people just feel overwhelmed.
Mhm.
And I completely understand how that feels because I have experienced and still do sometimes that overwhelmed feeling. And it's just thinking of everything at once. It's the subconscious mind trying to protect us from all these things that could go wrong. And so I help people to come back to the now. And I have
Mhm.
to be reminded of this too. Come back to the now. And I help them with that. And then through tapping, we clear all those overwhelming thoughts and fears that are making them feel that way. So that's a common theme that I've stumbled upon with many people.
Yeah, that's stressful.
Yeah. And it's the ego trying to figure everything out. But a good reminder is it doesn't know everything, it does not know the future.
Hmm.
So you have to remind yourself that all I have is now. Tomorrow doesn't matter. Yesterday's gone. And really, really just focus on, okay, I'm right here, right now, and nothing else is happening. And it really does, it helps you to focus on being present. It's all about being present.
Yeah. I feel like I struggle with that too. I
We
don't
all
know
do.
what it is. Like, you're always in the future of like, oh, how's that gonna go? And oh gosh, like I think for me personally, I build things up in my mind to be like harder than they really are.
Oh, yeah.
And then it takes me like 10 times longer to get something done. And it's like, why was I even worrying about that? So funny.
Yes. Yes. I know I've experienced that myself. So the brain that and the ego tries to predict the future for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't know the future. So I constantly have to remind myself, and it's a daily thing that so I have to thank my mind for trying to figure things out for me. This is what really helps. You thank your mind for trying to figure it out for you, but remind it that you're doing things differently. And it just
Mm-hmm.
kind of shuts it off.
Yeah,
And you may have to do
totally.
that 100 times a day until you get to a place where it becomes less and less throughout your life. It
Mm-hmm.
gets easier as you go along.
I feel like I've seen similar themes with my clients, mostly women, actually all women.
Oh, yeah.
And um, some of them have children and families, and some of them don't. But anxiety is like rampant, and it's makes me really sad because when did life get so demanding that, it's just a lot on a woman who's not probably designed to live in this like go, go, go world. And I always tell them, like, even if they're at point A and they want to get to point B, they have to not only honor the process, but allow themselves to just take the first step and like celebrate that instead of being like, oh, this is going to take forever. I don't want to do the work. It's going to take too long. And I'm like, it's okay. Just be here now. And another thing that I find really helpful that resonates with people is like think back in your past to hard things that you already accomplished. Like it's a miracle that we're alive. We've all gone through hard things. And when you like pick them up in your mind and you like remind yourself of all the things that you're triumphant over, you could use that courage and strength or approach to accomplish the next tough thing.
Yes. So that brings up another topic, journaling. So when you do feel anxious, overwhelmed, one really helpful thing is writing it all down on a piece of paper, in a book, in a journal, and releasing it, because somehow, I don't know why this works, but it does. It helps your brain to think, okay, since that's written down, I don't have to deal with that anymore. It's like releasing what's going on in the mind. It's a brain dump. And
Mhm.
so, and then after that, usually you feel some relief. And if you do this over days, weeks, months, it's an ongoing practice, you start to feel more at ease and in flow in your life, because it's that putting it onto paper. I don't know what it is about that, but it helps you to feel relieved. And then you can write down how you want your life to be and how you would be feeling once you had that. And that in itself is like manifesting what you desire. I've done that over the years, and things have just occurred without me really knowing it or realizing it from just writing it down and getting into those feelings of how I would feel if I already had it.
I love that.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I want to talk a little bit too about a specific client I worked with. I worked with her one time, and she came to me because she wanted help with clearing this. I think she described it as just this ick feeling about her mom, because her mom would always judge her, and her mom would always criticize her and tell her she couldn't do certain things. And it, of course, over time, that really brings you down. And she said after we tapped on it, she felt differently about her mom, and the relationship changed, and she could talk to her on the phone and not feel weird. And I wanted to bring that up because this EFT tapping affects other people in your life. When you clear your stuff, it goes around your inner circle with other people that you're in relationship with, your family, your friends, and affects everybody. Why? Because you have changed your internal dialogue, your stuff, and you see the world differently, and people react to you differently. So it's really cool like that.
Do you feel like they like that you made those changes? Or do you feel like it kind of inspires them to make their own changes?
You know what I experienced in the beginning of working on my stuff? I didn't tell anybody about it. And so
Really?
they didn't know.
Hmm.
It was really cool. Um, yeah, of course. I feel like my family felt different, but they didn't know why.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it was just there was more clarity there. There was more closeness there. There was more yeah, I don't know. It was just different. It's hard to explain. But working on your stuff trickles down the line and affects everybody else in a really good way. And yeah, it's a great thing.
Well, for sure. I think they could feel it, even if
Hmm.
they don't understand what you did.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. Anything pop up for you with clients that you've helped?
Um, there's so many things. I feel like it was all stress, anxiety related. Some of it was trying to reach a big goal in their business and, looking in the past and trying to figure out different patterns that were working or were not working and tying. And I feel like it all comes back to how you were raised. Like,
Mhm.
almost every single time, it's like, oh, no wonder why.
Oh, yeah.
This is
Yeah,
not even my belief. This is not even my thing. It's like you inherit it by osmosis. Like, it's so funny.
I know. I know.
But,
Yeah.
you're a product of your environment. So why wouldn't you be influenced by the people that you spend the most time with? It
Mhm.
makes sense. And, I've seen a lot of different issues, like people wanting to start a family and feeling the pressure and at a certain age, or people wanting to, lose weight and get healthy. Like that seems to be another common theme that I notice. People either didn't pay attention to their health and all of a sudden they have a little mini scare and they're like, I got to do things differently. And I'm like, I'm here to support you. I
Mm.
love all that stuff. So it just depends on where you are. It could be just I had a bad day and you need like a maintenance tap, or it could be something like you were saying in the beginning that you're just carrying an unsettling memory from something that you just have to clear.
Yeah. Yes. And the more of this work that you do, the better your life gets. It really is true. And one thing I really, really emphasize with people I work with is binge tapping. So that sounds off-putting, right? Because we don't want to spend a lot of time on ourselves sometimes, and I've been guilty of that. But really, it's worth the effort, it's worth the work, and it's not all about doing personal development work all the time. We need to have fun and we need to live our lives. There needs to be a balance there. But when you do hours and hours of this type of work, whether that be with someone or through videos that you find on YouTube, your whole world will change. Your perspective of things change. You become less reactive to the world around you. Your anxiety lessens. It's worth it to go in your inner world and clear it and change and shift things that have been with you for years and decades.
I feel like it's the only way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like everybody can benefit from this if they're open to it. You got to be ready.
exactly. You do have to be ready. And that's another thing I have learned, to be patient with people that come to me and start asking questions. If they're not ready, then they're not ready. And
Hmm. That's
maybe
okay.
another time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
All right. Well, anything else?
Um, I can't think of anything at the moment. I'm sure when we hang up, I will.
Yes. Well, we will be back, I'm sure, with another series. And this has been great. Thank you, Michelle.
Oh, you're welcome, Kelly. Thanks again.
Yeah.